This is our final exam. In this exam, basically there's four primary parts to it. The first part is to create a 3D model of a clock body. We'll see that on page 2 here. And you see all the dimensions are given in both manufacturing and engineering standard. Once you're finished modeling the clock body, save it off. Then the second part is to create an assembly and made all the components as shown in the clock body assembly drawing. So that's here. You see all the different components that are there. Everything from bolts and hands and all types of things. So anyhow, then the third part is to recreate the assembly drawing as shown on page 3. So if we go to page 3, that's this drawing right here that we want to recreate. And finally print that out and turn it in. Don't forget your name. So let's get started. With this, we'll first go ahead and start a new part file with ProE. And we could go ahead and select the front plane and start a sketch on it. We'll zoom up pretty close, select our circle tool, and in the drawing, the overall diameter for this is going to be 8 inches. If you take a look here, you can see 8 inches right there. And then there's going to be a thickness of 0.75, and then there's a radius on there as well. So we'll extrude this. We hit done. We go to extrude, 0.75, hit enter 2 times. And it's probably not a bad idea to just put that radius on there, which is a round of 0.25. And select this edge. And now we know what the front is. We'll start a new sketch on that front surface. And this is going to be a recess, approximately 7 inches in diameter. And then that gets recessed. If we look at the drawing here, 0.125. So hit done, extrude, removing material. Don't forget to select the remove material button. You could flip the arrow and it's 0.125 and hit the apply. Now we make another recess. We could select this face right here. Selecting the very front face, and you'll see there's a little bit of a benefit there. Eliminates us having to do any sort of math calculations, which might result in some sort of error in dimensioning. So this is going to be 6.5, and that's going to get extruded as well. If we look at the print, go from the 0 marker here, this goes all the way down to this line at the very bottom. If we follow that up, that's a 1/2 inch. So we'll set to 0.5 and flip the arrow. And make sure you hit remove material. Hit apply. Alright, there's also a through hole in here, so we could just select that face and start a sketch. And draw our through hole, which I believe is going to be just 0.5. And go to extrude, flip it, and cut it. And you can select through all. Now the reverse side gets some features on it too, so we have to flip it around the back. Start a sketch on it. And there's a circle that we have to draw. And it gets dimensioned here 7.5. And then that's a cut. So we go to extrude, flip the arrows, and that's 0.125. And in this case, I didn't see anything update. As a matter of fact, it filled in my hole. Problem is I forgot to select the remove button. So if that happens, it's a very easy fix. Just right click on the feature, edit the definition, and select the remove material button. And there it is. Okay, we'll start putting some of the features on the back side here. We'll start a sketch on that surface, and we'll draw, um, we'll go to the centerline tool and just draw vertical and a horizontal centerline. We'll take a circle tool, draw a circle out here. This is going to be 0.25 in diameter, and these are dimension 1 inch vertically and horizontally off of those center lines. And as long as you drew center lines in, which is right over here, make sure you select the center line, you should be able to do the mirror tool right now. So if you select the actual feature, over here on the lower right, you'll find the mirror. Select mirror and select the vertical center line, or horizontal for that matter, it doesn't really matter, whichever order you go in. Now hold control and select both so they're red. Go to mirror again and select the opposite, perpendicular to that. And now you should have four circles, which we're going to create bosses from. So we now go to extrude, 0.25, and the backside is done. Make sure you use the mirror tool for that. I'm going to be checking that one. Okay, now we'll select this face, start a sketch, and we're going to draw the 12 indicators on here. And diameter is 0.5, and it should be 2.5 for the location off of the center. If we look here, I have it shown as a diameter, which is 5 inches, so 2.5 would be the radius, which is half that. And these are only 0.375 for the circles. My mistake. Let's change that. And now we'll hit done, extrude, 0.125. And now we need to pattern that with a circular pattern. The key to the circular pattern is this tool, the axis display. Make sure you also have your feature selected, like here, it's shown in red, and find the pattern tool. Select axis, select the center axis right in the middle here, and be sure to put in 12 instances, and you can put in 360 divided by 12, which gives you 30 degrees, and hit apply. You could turn off the axis display. And there is our clock body, 100 points. We'll go ahead and we'll save that. And I'll save that as my, make sure you don't put any spaces in. Now we're ready to move on to the assembly. So let's go to New, Assembly, and we'll call this the clock assembly. Let me downsize it to the screen. You, of course, won't have to do this, most likely. All right, and we could go over here to insert a part. We go to Assemble. We find the clock body, hit open, and over here we'll go to the coordinate system and lock it in through that. So if we go to coordinates, we can now select the part coordinate system to the assembly coordinate system, or CSYS as it's shown. Hit apply. And we could begin to insert additional parts here. We could turn off our planes and even our coordinate system if we want, just so we could see this a little bit better. And now to insert the new parts, go to Assemble, and it will be under your directory for your class. Go to Sample Files, and you'll find the final, and all the parts should be here. Next part you want to bring in probably is the chrono housing. Hit open, and we'll first get this face here aligned into the center hole. Okay, we can see it's flipped around a bit. There's a nice little option here which will allow us to reverse that. We could actually go to placement here, and we could flip it. But the problem is with that, sometimes it flips it upside down. But that's okay. We'll go ahead and just leave it at that. We could actually middle click on it, and we'll go to Move Component. We can actually move it out a little bit if we want to see it better. And we'll go to New Constraint. And so basically right now, since it's upside down, the way we could tell that if we go over here to our views, go to the front view, and especially if you see it in wireframe, you should be able to identify that it has to be flipped the opposite way, because these little holes here are for the bracket for mounting it on the wall. So let's go back to shaded. We'll fix that in just a moment. The way we could fix that is just to select the opposite holes. So we could select this hole here to this opposite end, and if it gives us a little bit of a problem with flipping it, and actually in this case it flipped it for us, we're in good shape. We'll go with one more new constraint. We'll select this face here to that face and hit done. And now if we go to the front view orientation under the AB button here and change it to wireframe, we should be able to see that those two holes there for the bolts are going to be on the top, which is what we need. Okay, we'll go back to shaded mode. Now we'll go ahead and insert some of the additional parts here. So we go over here to Assemble, and we'll go ahead and drop in the hour hand. And here we can see it. We'll select this face here, and that gets mounted to the white surface. Okay. And unfortunately, it's way over here, flipped on the other side. So that's not a problem. If you want to move it, just right-click over it, and you'll find Move Component. And now you could grab it and just move it forward, and click to drop it with the left mouse button. Go to Placement now, and go to New Constraint, and we'll go ahead and select it to be mounted. Let's see here. Flip it around. And we might have to move it a little bit more. Right click, or we could right click and it'll select the backside face for us just by hitting next. And then left click. And then select the black surface here. And that's it. Hit apply. If it moves, that's okay. Alright, we'll go ahead and insert another part here. So this time we'll drop in the minute hand. And let's right click on it and move it right in the front, kind of where we want it, or closer to where we want it, so we won't have that same issue. We could go to Placement, select this face here, to the silver face, and as you can see, it's a little bit easier this time. We could actually flip it around, select that backside face, rotate it, and select the white surface here to mount it. And let's go back to our front view orientation. Be sure that we turn on wireframe. Looks pretty good. 1:45 will probably come up if you got it right. Okay, now we can keep moving along here. Let's go back to shaded. We'll put the lens in. And to put the lens in, we just go over here to Assemble, and we select the lens. Again, right click over it, and you'll find Move Component. Let's bring it way over here. Click with the left mouse button. And then select, go to Placement, select that flat face there. There's a little flat. And you want to mount that on this face here. And then you can select the cylindrical face there and mount it on that cylindrical face and hit apply. Okay, now we just have to put the bracket on with the bolts. So we go to Insert and select the bracket, hit Open. The bracket's over here. Again, it's not a bad idea to right click on it, move component, and drag it over here. Go to Placement, and now, actually let's bring it up a little bit. Right click on it, move component. Let's move it up closer where we want it. And then click on the Select Component here. We'll select this hole. Let's see, it's the backside face, so we want it actually on this hole right here. Okay. And then we'll select this underside face to lock it into this face. And then we could actually just made up the holes again over here. Oh, I should have actually selected new constraint. Let's try to here. And apply. All right, and finally, the bolts. Bring in one, and we'll right click on it to move the component. Grab it with the left mouse button, bring it closer where you might want it. Actually, we could drag it up further. And we'll go to Placement, click in the box, select the length of the shaft here to one of the holes, and then flip it around, select the underside face to the top face of the bracket. Hit Apply or middle click. Let's bring in another one. Again, bolt. And it's remembering our last mates. If you don't want this to do this, it's supposed to be a nice feature. For our class, let's just go to manual here, place manually to override that. It's like an automatic feature. It's supposed to make things work a little bit faster, but let's skip it. And we'll go over here, select that, and then select this underside face. We'll have it go right through the part to grab the top face of that bracket and hit apply. Okay, that's it. We'll go ahead and save that off. And now we're going to explode it. So we could go to View, Explode, and Edit Position. Now it's going to automatically explode it partially for us. We might want to actually add to it a little bit, enhance how it's laid out a little bit better. And the way you can do this is you can select the component. And if we turn on axes, it might be easier. We could actually select an axis. In this case, the center axis does pretty well. And then we select the component that we want to move. So if we want to move this, just click on it, drag it out the back, and then we could hit OK. And actually, we should go back there. Go back to View, Explode, Edit Position, and let's move some more of these. So Motion Reference. We could go ahead and select that axis, select the part that we want to move, and you could actually put incremental values in here if you're watching it. In this class, I'm going to let you kind of eyeball it, but in real life, you might want to actually put an incremental value. Like if this moves 7 inches, make sure that the bolts move 7 inches so they're all in alignment properly. So we're at 7.42. Let's see if we can. And we could go ahead and over here, instead of smooth, we could put in specific values too. So we could go to new, hit OK. And we could go ahead and do the rest. So let's keep going with that. View, explode, add a position. Okay. And for this, again, we'll go ahead and make sure we select the right things. So transitional or motion increment, we'll select the component. And actually, we'll just do smooth here. Move back, unfortunately. All right, I'm having a little bit of a challenge here with it. Apparently my motion reference, I have it set to something that I didn't want. So let's go ahead and make sure we have it set to one of these axes. And we could go ahead and move it. And here it's incremental. This is more what you want to do. Like we'll click on 10 inches for that. So basically, you just keep going through there. We'll do one more. Go to View, Explode, add a position. And we'll grab another axis. And then the component, let's move this forward. Okay. And now we'll go ahead and I'll actually have to work on this a little bit better, but just go ahead and go to File. Actually, let's collapse it. Go to View, Explode, Unexplode View. This will bring it back if it disappears. You can turn off your axes. And now let's move on to the drawing. So go to New, Drawing, turn off Use Default, Empty with Format. Make sure the clock assembly is selected. If not, hit Browse, find it. Go to Browse. We'll use the A size. Unfortunately, I don't have an A standard here. Maybe we could use this one. Let's try that. A2 sounds like it's an ISO template, but it should be okay. Hit OK. Your templates are a little different on your computer. Just select the A size and that'll be fine. Doesn't have to look just like mine. Okay, now I just could go ahead and click on this icon here to insert a general view. Left click. I'm going to go to the front view orientation. Under view states, if we look at the actual print, you have to try and match this as close as possible. You'll see that it's hidden lines are visible. So under view display, make sure we have center lines set for tangent edges and hidden lines are visible. Hit apply. And then we're going to hit close and we'll move this. So be sure to unlock it, relocate it. And we'll go to Insert, Drawing View, Projection. Have a bottom view. Double click on that. Make sure under View Display, that one will be hidden lines as well. And center lines. And then we'll make another one. Select this view, go to Insert, Drawing View Projection, make a left side. Under View Display, same thing. Hidden lines, center line, hit OK. Now we need to make a section view. So for the section view, as long as you lined everything up in the center, we should be able to turn on our planes and see our assembly right plane. So now we could go to Insert, Drawing View, Projection, select our front view, drag off one to the right, double click, and over here under Section, select 2D cross section, hit the plus symbol, hit Enter, give it a name A, hit Enter again, and I'll just select the assembly right plane and hit OK. Now for this one, be sure that you have it set up and it should look exactly like the print. That means that under View Display, we want no hidden lines and center lines for the tangent edge display. And you could turn off your planes again. So it should look just like that. If I see hidden lines, it gets marked off. Okay, the next view is a detail view. So we go to Insert, Drawing View, Detail View. Make sure no view is selected before you do this, or else it'll be grayed out. Click in this vicinity here, and then drag a circle around it. Middle click, left click to drop it. Make sure that you lay this out nicely and align the detail view information as such. Okay, we might have to squeeze some of that together so we can make room for our isometric view. So make sure you drag some of these things over. Okay, now for the isometric view, we'll go ahead and go to right click the area, insert general view, hit OK. Left click to drop it in. Make sure here this is set to isometric, hit apply. And then under view display, make sure no hidden lines are turned on. You want center lines for the tangent edges, hit apply. And finally, go to view state and explode, hit apply. And close. Now it didn't seem to remember what I had. That's okay, just use what we have here. We'll go ahead and actually the next class we go into more detail with exploding. It's just a little too complex right now for an introductory class. So at this point we're going to go ahead and we'll insert the balloons. So we'll go to Insert Balloons and we'll do it the manual method. Again, the next level class actually covers how to do this automatically. Just a little more than I want to cover right now. But we'll hit with leader, make note. And from here we could go ahead and select an edge of the part we want. Middle click. This will be, we'll make this the bracket will be part 1. Hit enter. Hit make note. Click on this part. Middle click. Make that part 2. Hit enter. Make note. We'll select one of the bolts. Middle click. That'll be part 3. Hit enter. Hit make note again. Select the clock bezel. Middle click. That will be part 4. Hit enter 2 times. Make note, select the edge of the lens. Middle click. That'll be part 5. Hit enter 2 times. And the hands aren't showing up because they're behind the clock bezel. That's okay. Just hit done and return. Okay, from here now we're going to go ahead and drop in our bill of materials. Again, we're not going to use the automatic method. We'll go over here to table. Select here. Will be 5 by 12 by 5. Middle click. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, should have put something in there. Actually, let me hit cancel. And hit quit. We'll put those in again. I went a little too fast. So left click, 5, 12, 5. Middle click, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the first cell, we'll make it part. Second cell will be description. Third cell will be quantity, QTY, period. First part here is number 1. And if we look at that part, That was the bracket. And quantity of 1. The next thing was number 2. That's the chrono. So we'll double click in there, type in 2. Just call it the chrono for or chrono housing. I didn't make enough room to put all that in there. That'll be a quantity of 1. Number 3, I believe, is the bolt. Okay. And that has a quantity of 2. Number 4, we can middle click, actually move over here. It takes too long there. So for number 4, that's the actual clock bezel. Quantity of 1. And number 5 is the lens. Quantity of 1. Make sure you drop your name in. So you go to Note, Make Note, left click, hit Enter, done, and you're done. In this case, I used a A2 size sheet, which I think is around very similar size to maybe it could be a D size. I don't remember the actual size exactly of the ISO size sheets. But if you have a chance, you might want to actually use similar A2. If you should have the option in there, or maybe make it larger, like a C size. And that is about it. Let's make sure that we have everything in here. Oh, one other thing. Make sure you show the arrows for the section. So click on this view here, right click, then at first left click so it turns red. Then right mouse button click and you'll find add arrows. Select the view you want to add the arrows to. And maybe squeeze those in a little bit. And that is it. Go to the print, actually don't go print, go to save as PDF. Hit OK with the default settings. And once it comes up, just use the print out of the PDF viewer. So right here, you just hit print and it should print out. Turn it in, make sure your name's on it, double check that, and that's it.